Yo, what is up guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we've got a sort of different video for you guys. I'm going to go through the new icon swaps, the Showdown cards which have just recently been released, as well as some other stuff in FIFA in general, just to kind of discuss them through with you guys, what my thoughts are on it, and what you guys should be doing or not doing in my opinion. Without further ado, let's get into the video. So guys, we've got a bunch of stuff that we got to look through here today. The first thing that we are going to look through is, of course, this Showdown SBC. Now guys, just yesterday EA released a Showdown SBC, which was between the Champions League match between Manchester City and Borussia Mönchengladbach. Now there's two cards here, Alexander Zinchenko and Patrick Hermann, who we're both going to go through and whether I think they are worth doing in terms of SBC value. We'll go into SBC values of course as well, but we're just going to review the cards first before we go into that and the final recommendation. So let's get into Patrick Hermann first. Hermann, medium high work rate, so already off the bat a right mid who's got medium high work rates. Very weird in that he likes to track back more. Considering he's only got 38 defending, guys, it's not a great start. Right-footed, 4-star moves, and 3-star weak foot. Not too much of an issue, of course, because he is a winger. I would like to see it 4-star weak foot, of course, but again, we can manage that on the right wing. The more worrying thing is that medium-high work rate. In terms of his linkability, of course, he's got great links to Florian Neuhaus, Dennis Zakaria, as well as a bunch of other German players in the Bundesliga. But guys, I do think that his attributes are pretty decent as well. 95 acceleration, you know, decent passing as well, decent short passing, decent dribbling as well. Nothing spectacular, guys. But overall, I think it's a solid card. I do think that he does need that boost desperately, especially to make him a card that at this stage of FIFA would be better to have. I do think as well that that stamina is very poor, considering he's got medium high work rates. He will get very tired by the end of games as well. Finally, guys, in the player traits, he's only got the team player trait, so that's something also to consider when we look at the SBC value, which we're going to get into after we've reviewed Alexander Zinchenko. Let's go to that card next. So guys, getting into Alexander Zinchenko's player card. Now 5'9", high medium, left-footed, 3-star swings and 3-star weak foot. Again, I would like that weak foot to be higher, but for a left back, we're not going to be so concerned, especially given that he will be playing predominantly with that left foot as a left back. It's not too much of a worry. High medium work rate, so he will get forward a little more, just hoping that stamina does match up as well. In terms of his linkability, guys, of course, he is Manchester City player, so that does allow you to link in some nice players there. Of course, Ukrainian as well, so you've got an icon link to Shevchenko. However, not many other great links in there for this card. In terms of his stats, guys, 92 acceleration, which is right off the bat a really nice one to have. Decent tackling stats, decent passing stats as well. Bear in mind that Alexander Zinchenko is actually an attacking midfielder or a midfielder and has been moved back to that left back slot. He does have 85 stamina, so very usable for those high medium work rates, and 81 aggression as well, which is nice to have on a fullback. He does get stuck in and like to get tackles by the looks of it as well. Composure's a little low, guys. That's another thing I would be concerned about. His crossing is pretty decent though as well. So overall, guys, a decent card again. Now that we've reviewed both Patrick Hermann and Alexander Zinchenko, let's go into what the SBC requirements are and whether I think either of them is worth doing. So guys, first of all, we're going to get into Patrick Hermann's requirements. Now 153k on the PlayStation to do this, 141 on the Xbox and 167 on the PC. I think that's very expensive, guys, for what you're getting. As we just reviewed the stats, I don't think this card overall is that impressive. But looking at the squads, they're both split pretty evenly. 90k for the second one, 62k for the first one. 84 rated squad with one player from Germany in the second squad, and an 83 rated squad with one informed player and one player from the Bundesliga in the first squad. So overall, guys, not a cheap SBC. I would say that given the boost that he's going to get, and we'll look at that in just a second, this SBC is very expensive and does take a really high risk considering who is playing who here. Of course, the champions of elect of England, who are playing very well right now against Borussia Mönchengladbach, who are a decent team, don't get me wrong, but aren't necessarily at the same level that Manchester City are at. It will also depend on the contrasting styles of football, with German football being very counter-attacking, English football being a little more physical in terms of all of that as well. So it would be nice to see those two matches play out, those two styles play out in that match. However, guys, I do think this is very expensive. We'll get into the stats shortly. First of all, let's look at Zinchenko's SBC requirements. So guys, getting into Zinchenko's SBC requirements, this SBC is 340k on the PlayStation, 300 on the Xbox, 356 on the PC. Guys, this is ridiculously expensive for this card. I've not even reviewed what his upgraded stats would be, and we will look at that shortly. But guys, 212k for the second squad, 101k for the first squad. You look at what is required for those two squads, that is a lot of fodder to lose. A very expensive set of fodder to lose as well. I mean, you could go and get some other stuff for a very nice card at left back for that price as well. I don't necessarily think that this Zinchenko card will be worth it even after his upgrade. Those SBCs are both very expensive, and we were going to review both of those cards with the upgrades, what stats would stand out and what will improve, so that you guys can make that final decision on whether you want to do the SBCs one and who you will do if you're only going to do one of those cards as well. Let's go to, first of all, Patrick Hermann's card. So guys, back to Patrick Hermann. We're looking at this here, and what we're seeing here is, if you look at the stats, of course, now the way the Showdown SBCs have worked so far, which I really hate, I wish EA boosted it based on how they played in game. However, it seems that if they get a win, they will get a +2 to every stat in each category. If they get a draw, they will get a +1 to each stat in every category. And overall, guys, if you add even a +2 to most of these stats, this card is still very, very, very poor in terms of what value you're getting for that 150k. He will, of course, be an 88 rated card, but 78 composure isn't great. His 89 short passing is good, but 77 long passing isn't really that great either. His crossing will be decent as well, with 90 crossing now. But overall, guys, I think the finishing 86, very average. 86 shot power, very average. 83 long shots, very average. And with that weak foot as well, a right footer coming down that wing, you're going to be crossing for the most part. You won't be cutting in and hitting it with that left foot either. So guys, this is something that I really struggle with. The aggression will still be low, the stamina will still be low, his work rates will still be very dodgy. For me, guys, my recommendation on this card is do not do this card. I do not think that this Showdown Hermann is worth it at all. I do think there are better ways to build a Bundesliga team, unless you want to link him in perfectly with Florian Neuhaus, who I do like. I have done a review on that card, please do check that out. But I don't think this is the way to do it. I think there are plenty of other ways you could link that card into your team, or even build a Bundesliga team without having to do this card. I do not think he's worth it at all. Let's go into the discussion about Zinchenko. So guys, for some reason Zinchenko's card will not load up the image, the dynamic image of him, but getting into the stats anyway, guys, we can see here that his acceleration will go to 94, sprint speed 91, so that's a really nice change already if he does get that 2 boost. Of course, a 1 boost applied if they draw the game. In terms of the overall ability, guys, I think that this card becomes very decent. 91 short passing, 86 long passing, 90 crossing is very good as well, 87 standing tackle, 83 sliding tackle. Guys, however, I do not know if that justifies the 313k on the PlayStation, 300 Xbox, and 356 on the PC price tag. I think that's incredibly expensive for what you can get. Overall, guys, I wouldn't be looking to do either of these Showdown SBCs if I'm honest. To show you guys more of a price comparison, we'll look at some of the price comparison left backs just to see what you can get for your coin as well. Let's go to that. Now that we're looking at some of the comparable left backs, guys, 313k right here for Alexander Zinchenko right there. Now, of course, he's sitting between two pretty duddy left backs in Ashley Cole and Emmanuel Petit. But if we look one above that to the 85 Theo Hernandez, I think you do get a more physically capable and better card for 340k. Now, I know that this Alexander Zinchenko will go to a heck of a lot better than this Hernandez when he does boost in price. But for me, guys, to take a risk on that, I would rather get someone who's much more defensively sound and capable in this Javier Zanetti, or even just go a bit cheaper with the card, guys. I mean, I really don't think that he's worth it. If we look down at the last left back that was given to us, which of course is Marcos Acuna, 163k, that's an absolute bargain for that card. That card is absolutely sensational. I wish I'd done that card in hindsight, but it's a really great card, and I really don't think that 313k, given what's below him as well, is a viable price for this Alexander Zinchenko. It really is because of his linkability and ability to put him into the Premier League, an elite Premier League left back there. Guys, for me, even though he will be the best Premier League left back available, excluding of course the honourable mentions Andy Robertson, I do not think that this Zinchenko card is worth it at all. So that leads me back to my final recommendation, which is I would not recommend for you guys to do either of these Showdown SBC cards. However, if you do want to stick together a Manchester City team, or you're just looking for a good left back in the PL and want someone to stick away your coins, I can understand you doing this card. But for me, guys, if you're looking to build around this card or build this card into your team somehow, I wouldn't bother. I would go another way, look at another left back option, or wait for something better to come around. Not my cup of tea, this card at all. Now that we've gone through the dynamic cards and the Showdown cards, of course, let's get into the icon swaps and level 2 of that, or season 2 of that. So guys, we've now loaded up the icon swaps, and we've got a few here which are quite decent for me actually. I know that you guys might disagree on some of this, but I do think that some of these are worth it. It's still a very disappointing icon swaps considering, and that's my general feeling, guys, for its icon swaps. I do think it's a disappointing icon swaps. I think they could have done a lot better considering this will run for 80 days. Now, 80 days from now, or 70 days, sorry, from now, takes you well into, I believe it is the end of April, or closer towards the end of April, which is then only a month removed from Team of the Season. So unless they're really going to be giving us something big in the last set of icon swaps, or last 2 sets of icon swaps, I really don't see how this gives anyone a big incentive to go for the cards that they've put in here. Without further ado, let's just look at some of these. So the first one you get for 2 tokens is the 81 times 25 pack. Now guys, this isn't actually a bad one. If you don't want to grind out that many tokens and want just some decent packs to be able to try and get some of these icons or good players from, save this for Team of the Season maybe as well, then I think that's a pretty nice reward there. In terms of the next one as well, the 82 times 25, it's a nice little boost as well. However, I would have maybe liked to see a few more, especially given the effort that you have to put in for that. Of course, it does eliminate a bunch of bad cards. So again, I'm not going to complain too much about the packs. I think the pack ones in this season are very fair. I think the players could have done a lot better though as well. Then getting on to 5 tokens, the 83. Now there's a lot of 82 cards, however putting it for 5 tokens, I would have preferred it again be at 4 tokens. I know I'm asking for reductions on every single one, but guys, I do think that eliminating one more stat point really doesn't entitle you to have to earn 2 extra tokens. I think if it was an 84 times 20 pack, then that would have been much better for 5 tokens, or even 84 times 15 or 17 cards. I think that's much better for 5 tokens, but for 83, I actually don't think this one's worth it. I think the first 2 of those first 3 there, the one that I would pick is probably the 82 for 25 pack, but I wouldn't be picking this one for sure. I don't think it eliminates enough for me to be able to put my value into that one. Then we move on to the first of our player picks, which is Deco. 7 tokens for Deco here. Now this Icon Moments Deco I actually think is pretty decent. If we look more into the card, he's got very good acceleration now. And guys, you'll remember that one of the big cons of this card, which when I did my Prime Icon review on him, please do check that out, was his shooting, his finishing, composure, all that good stuff wasn't really there for this card. And with this Moments card, they've really rectified a lot of that. And his dribbling will be insane on this card. The dribbling on the Prime card was ridiculous. The passing was brilliant as well. So that's still going to be there. And now you've added an element of shooting and decent pace, which you can boost as well. I think this card's going to be really sensational to use and really fun to use as well. And he's got good stamina now as well. The only thing that I would say they didn't fix on this card is that 3-star weak foot. I still think that if they boosted that to 4-star, it would be a fantastic value to token card. I don't think it's still bad value token to card. I mean, there you got some nice traits as well. So I mean, overall guys, I think this card is pretty nice, especially for only 7 tokens. I think that's actually very reasonable. And this is one of the ones I would say where a player is actually worth the token value that they've given you. I do think this Deco card will be very fun to use, and he'll be someone you can actually build your team around, especially given how he links across all different leagues to players such as Renato Sanchez, Ronaldo, Bernardo Silva. Players like that, you can really build a nice team around him as well. Getting into the next set of token rewards. Now guys, if I was to say which one to pick out of Deco or the next 2, I definitely would say pick Deco over the base or mid icon pack. I mean, 8 tokens for a base icon pack. It's nice if you hit someone big, but overall guys, that's terrible value for what you're getting there. You cannot guarantee that you're going to get anyone decent. There's a lot of bad players in those. I've been stung by that by getting the base version of Robert Perez in one of my packs, which was absolutely horrible. The mid icon pack, again, it's not great value because there's so many players that you can get stung by in there. And I think, again, you're not really getting your value for token with these kind of packs here. I do think that the Deco one is far more valuable than that. I think that that would be the one I would choose out of those 3. And leading on to that, you do get a chance to see for 9 tokens as well. Instead of picking that mid-icon pack, you can pick up that Ashley Cole. Guys, if you're telling me that this Ashley Cole is worth more than Deco, I 100% disagree with you. I do not think that this card deserves to be at the 9 token level. If you switched Ashley Cole to 7 and Deco to 9, I would say it's probably fairer. I do think that Deco gives you far better value for your tokens than what this Ashley Cole does. This is a decent left back. It's not a brilliant left back. I wouldn't say he's worth the 9 tokens. We're getting more into it, guys. Of course, his acceleration is great. His stamina is great. His aggression is fantastic. Ashley Cole, of course, a very aggressive player. Great defensive awareness, interception, stand tackle, and sliding tackle. He'll be very good defensively, but for 9 tokens, guys, I wouldn't say he's worth it. I would just wait for his price to drop off a little more, which inevitably it will. He's currently sitting at around 600k, I believe. That's definitely going to drop below 500 eventually, and it won't be that long before it does. It may be with the next Icon Moments where they're released, because that won't be an expensive Icon Moments card either. He will be a better left back in the game, but not crazy expensive, not like Roberto Carlos level. So I do think that this one is severely over tokened, if that's a way to phrase it. I don't think he's worth it at all, especially with what you're getting really isn't worth it in my opinion. So if I was to pick again between Deco or Ashley Cole, again I'm picking Deco every time. I do think he's much more worth it. leads us on to this one, a mid or prime icon pack. Now again, for me guys, this is so disappointing. Now I said in the beginning I thought they'd done okay with the pack. I do think they've made some seriously bad judgments on this mid section here. The mid or prime icon pack again can sting you so badly. Now with prime icons, even though they're prime icons, again they can sting you so badly with what you can get. You can come out getting, and I'm not saying that this is a bad pull, and I'm not trying to disrespect the players at all, but coming out with someone like a Miroslav Klose or a Ruud van Nistelrooy, you would really feel stung by having to spend that much time to get 10 tokens to then get those players. I feel like they just haven't done us justice with these token swaps here either. So again, out of this screen, guys, I would not be picking any of these rewards. If I was you, do not pick any of these rewards. Go for something else which will allow you to maximize your token value. Getting into the next one, now this is an interesting one because my nostalgia for this player and my love for who this player was to my team means that I love Marc Overmars. I am of course an Arsenal fan, so I think this card is fantastic. However, is he 11 token good? I don't know. Let's look into the card a little further here. 5'8" high, medium workers, left foot, 3-star moves, 5-star weak foot. So that's nice to have on a winger as well, able to do it on both his left and right foot. In terms of his stats, guys, of course, phenomenal speed and phenomenal dribbling. Overall, guys, though, I would say for a card that you're spending 11 tokens on, I just need more in terms of capability with the ball. Although his dribbling is very good, I feel like looking at his stats, his end product might be a little poor. His finishing will be okay. He's got decent 88 finishing, 87 composure, but for a prime icon moment card, I would want more from that. And I think that this card is in that limbo area where I would say it's not quite worth what they're putting onto him. I do think that Deco card again is worth more. And you look at that Deco card in comparison to this, I would much rather take Deco, even though I am an Arsenal fan, than this Overmars, considering what then I can use my tokens on afterwards as well. I could go and get an icon pack, or I could go and open those smaller packs as well. I wonder if this Overmars is worth it. Now guys, I do think you get 18 tokens, so you could get both Deco and Overmars as your players. Now of course Overmars only has the one trait as well, and the speed dribbler trait. So guys, it's something to bear in mind how many tokens you're wanting to grind for to get, and who you want to get, and for what reason you want to get them. Of course, for Arsenal fans, this may be the one rather than Ashley Cole that you do want to grind out for. However, I do not think that he's worth more than Deco, so therefore I'd be looking again lower down to see where I would want to spend my tokens in. Getting into the next one, it's another stinker for me, guys. 12 tokens for a prime icon pack. There are so many bad prime icons. Again, I could go into it for you guys, but you could come out with someone like David Trezeguet, who I love, by the way. I do love David Trezeguet, Miroslav Klose, Ruud van Nistelrooy, Marco van Basten. You know, not players that are necessarily bad to other people, but in terms of what you can be getting, really is poor. And I would not be wasting 13 tokens on this, or 12 tokens, sorry, on this. This is a lot of tokens to give away for what might be a really bad pool. You could get something that's really horrible in your pack there. Getting into the next one, we've got the 89 Laurent Blanc. Now, if this had been the 91 Laurent Blanc, I would be saying, yep, this is worth it. I do think the 89 is a fantastic card regardless, and 13 tokens is actually a good price for this card. However, considering where we're going to be getting to by the end of this season, I think 13 tokens is far too many for this card. I would have liked something better for the 13 token mark. Don't get me wrong, I think Blanc is a fantastic card, and I do love Laurent Blanc's card. Every year I try to get it and try to use it in my team. However, guys, I think given the stage of FIFA that we're at and where we're going to be getting to at the end of the season, 13 tokens of this Laurent Blanc card is very expensive. I do think that it could have been better with this one as well. Out of these ones here, if you asked me to pick one, I would not be grinding for that Overmars. I would probably pick Laurent Blanc out of these three here. His 13 tokens just seems very expensive for him as well, guys. Getting to the 91 Prime Icon Pack. Now, guys, at first thought, I thought this was really good. Then when I looked into which icons you can get, it's pretty much every icon that you can think of. And that means, guys, that it's not that much different from this Prime Icon Pack here. Which does therefore only, it takes out a few icons which are really poor in terms of their overall top level, but it does also take out some icons which are pretty good. I think Michael Essien is 90 rated, so it means you couldn't get Michael Essien in this pack, but you could get him in this pack. So for me, guys, I would rather take out that chance of still, you know, you could get someone, again, I know I keep saying it, like Miroslav Klose, like Bobby Moore, for example, like Ruud van Nistelrooy, who would sit in this 91 Prime Icon pack, but again would also sit in this pack here. I don't think grinding out 2 extra tokens to guarantee yourself a 91 plus icon player gives you any sort of decent level of security to be able to get these cards and make sure you get something good from these icon swaps. I think that also is absolute garbage for me. I hated that pack once I figured out actually what was included in there. getting into this last screen, guys, I'm going to sound like I'm actually hating on it all, and actually I think I might well do, but 15 tokens for this base Emilio Butragueño really is not worth it, guys. This card is very good, don't get me wrong, but that's definitely not worth 15 tokens, especially what you can get prior to that. Again, I'm going to look at the Deco card. Now, I know that Butragueño is a striker, or Butragueño is a striker, and Deco is a cam. But guys, you're looking at value for value here, and what you're getting from that card, I would say, this is not worth it. If this had been the mid Butra, this would be a different story here, or even the prime Butra. I know the prime Butra is a lot to give away, especially for 15 tokens, but we are talking about where prime icon moments have been released, and 2 seasons from now we will be looking at team of the season time, and most of these cards aren't going to stack up against team of the season cards. Baby Butra is not going to stack up against a lot of TOTS cards, even in the worser leagues, so I think this is something, again, not a great one. This one here is absolute garbage, guys. If I could ask you guys to avoid one, avoid this one. 16 tokens for a prime or moments icon pack. That's total garbage, because there's the amount of rubbish that is in these prime or icon moment cards is ridiculous. 16 tokens, and for what you could get, I would be incredibly upset if I grinded out that much and got that sort of stuff that you can get from those packs. And in this final one here, guys, you get the prime icon moment Roberto Baggio. Now, guys, I've tried the prime icon Baggio. I did really like that card. I do think that he's not worth as much as his price tag is. I do think that Baggio, of course, a fantastic player in real life, one of the best Italian players to ever grace the game. However, guys, if you look at how this card plays in game and whether any of the issues will be resolved with this, you look at the card in more detail. 5-star swing moves, 4-star weak foot, 5'9" medium low work rates, perfect for an attacking midfielder in my opinion. But when you look deeper into the stats, again, he's still got a little bit of an issue with that agility, a little bit of an issue with that balance, and his stamina is ridiculously bad, especially for this card. Now, his medium low work rates will mean that it won't be that bad if you don't run around with him that much. However, guys, if you do like to run around with your cam a lot and chase down the ball, high press as well, and you know that you intercept a lot of balls in that sort of area, which I do, then this card really just doesn't work for me either. He's got a bunch of nice traits as well, not a bunch, even just a few, of course, but this Baggio card, it is a nice card, but again, guys, I really just do not think it is worth the 17 tokens you'd have to invest over 2 seasons to get to a card which will inevitably be usurped by someone who is a lot quicker, a lot faster. I would do this card if you have a love factor for Baggio. I would not do it under any other circumstance. So guys, my recommendation for what you guys should be looking at in terms of your tokens, I think the Blanc, it's one of them where he will be a good defender irrespective of whether it's TOTS time or not. He'll be able to hold his own against strikers and other centre-backs, especially when winning headers in and around the box. I think he is worth it. I think this Deco card is definitely worth it as well. And in terms of the pack, I would say these first 3 packs are also worth it as well. I do not think anything else in these icon swaps is really worth it, or you should be looking at anything else in that regard. I personally will be going for the Deco and a combination of packs, or maybe I will go for the mid or prime icon pack and then just the Deco just to kind of fill out the tokens. Of course, I will be grabbing all of them, or I might just go for all of these packs here and then the Deco card as well. But that's what I would be recommending for you guys. Do not grind out to get loads of tokens to go and pick up one of these bigger packs. 100%, it's not worth it, guys. You'll have far more fun just using something else or getting something else or trying out the packs as well. I would rather take a chance on a pack that gives me a bunch of other players than take a chance on a pack that's just going to take me a lot more effort and give me something that really isn't worth it either. Now guys, finally, before we close off this video, I hope you guys have not picked your players yet, but if you have, I apologize for this being a little bit late, but I'm going to advise you guys which one of the season progress players I would pick as well, in terms of the halfway point reward and the end point reward. So for the first one, we've of course got storyline Waldschmidt, we've got storyline Senesi, and we've got storyline Dembele. Now, of course, all 3 of them play in lesser leagues. Waldschmidt, centre forward for Benfica in the Portuguese league. Senesi, a centre back for Feyenoord in the Eredivisie. And of course, the last one, Dembele, playing in the I don't know if he's still in the Chinese league or not. He is in the Chinese Super League, playing for Guangzhou RNF. So, guys, we're going to go through those 3 cards. First of all, in terms of going through them, we're not going to go through each individual one and look at the strong and key and weak points. I'm going to point out the things which I would be looking at, especially in these players, and you guys can then decide whether they are factors for you as well. Getting into Waldschmidt, first of all, now he's 5'11" high, medium, left-footed, 4-6 moves and 4-star weakness. That's all really nice. The one thing that I did notice about this card, guys, was that 80 composure. That's a real issue for me. real problem in terms of being a finisher and being able to use this card, because you can link him in very nicely, but if you don't have good composure on this game by this point, and it's not going to be a card that you're going to regularly use, I would like to have a card that at least could finish chances reasonably well if I was going to pick a striker. So therefore, that would be the reason to put me off of this card. I think this card is pretty decent otherwise. All the stats are pretty good: 90 stamina, 91 acceleration, and a decent trait as well in the long shot taker. But overall, guys, not one for me. The Senesi card, again, pretty decent medium high, 6'1", left footed, 2-star moves, and 3-star weak foot. That's something that does put me off as well. But his acceleration is very good. His stamina is a little low. It's okay for centre backs as well, as they tend not to run around too much. Decent strength as well, and because of his size, passing ability, all of that as well. The only thing that would put me off this centre back is his ridiculously low agility and balance. I do think that that needs to be higher, especially getting to that point in the game of FIFA where we need centre backs that are able to turn, move with the ball, and play the ball out with relative ease, especially with how strikers are able to pressure the centre backs now, especially at this stage of the game. So therefore, for me, guys, that would also put me off this player, despite him having a couple of nice traits. But I can understand why people will pick this card, because again, it is a very decent centre back to link into a Eredivisie team that you could be building. For me, guys, this is the one that I ended up settling on. Moussa Dembele, high work rates, left-footed, forces moves, and 3-star weak foot. Now, guys, the 3-star weak foot is a bit annoying, but left-footed playing on the left side of midfield is nice. Hard to link in as well compared to the other two. The other two much more easy to link in, unless you've, of course, been building that Brazilian base in your team with Oscar or Paulinho or Anderson Talisca. You could easily build this guy in. However, I do think this card, guys, overall is pretty decent. His agility is low, but his balance, strength, aggression is all really high. His tackling stats are reasonable. You can boost that. And his passing is pretty good as well. This is the one that I would be picking in terms of the lower rated rewards. Just because of his overall ability, and the situations where I could bring him on, like if I'm lacking a goal, I'm not wanting to bring on Waldschmidt. If I'm trying to shore up a defense, I may bring on Senesi, but his agility would really scare me. So to lock down a midfield, to add a little bit of muscle in there, or even to play him as a central centre back, almost as a pivot in a 5-3-2, I would be very considerate of this Dembele. I think this was the best one of the three, and that's certainly the one I would be taking. Let's get into the end of the season rewards now. So guys, for the end of season rewards, we have three options. Adnan Januzaj's right wing card from Real Sociedad, Mattia De Sciglio's Lyon card, the right back, Italian right back, and Ryan Sessegnon's card from Hoffenheim, the left mid from England. So guys, we've got three decent options again. But what we do need to consider is that by the end of this season, we will be getting to that point now where cards start to get a little bit better. What sort of level do we want to be considering all of these at? Now, guys, if you did the Todibo SBC as well, that De Sciglio links in very nicely. But first of all, let's get into the Januzaj card. 6'1", medium low on that right wing. Might be quite nice to have a player who stays more up front, then can come back. He's, of course, left-footed as well, so cutting in off that right wing and finishing with the left foot might be quite nice to have, especially with that 4-star moves and 4-star weak foot. He is capable of using both feet and doing a good job with them both as well. In terms of his key stats, guys, 93 acceleration, 90 stamina. So I don't really know how I feel about the stamina considering his medium low. It doesn't really make that much of a difference for me. His agility and balance is good. His ball control and dribbling is very good as well. So this card is actually a very nice card. His crossing is decent as well. His finishing is decent. His composure is a little lower than I would like, but still very usable, very decent player there as well. He does have the flair trait, no finesse shot trait, outside of foot shot trait, and technical dribbler. So again, pretty good overall. I do think this is a very usable winger, very easy winger to fit into your team as well. But of course, guys, what I would say against this card is if you were going to get this card, you could just go and pick up that Porto card. He will be going down in price as well, considering what happened to Real Sociedad in the Europa League against Manchester United. Doesn't look like they'll be making a comeback either. I think that card is perfectly usable and will start to tank in price as if they go out of the competition. However, if you wanted a free Real Sociedad card, this is definitely an option. Getting into Mattia De Sciglio now, this is where things started to get interesting for him. Medium work rate, so doesn't drive forward, doesn't particularly stay back, but I do like the fact that it wasn't a high attacking work rate. At least he does stay back a little more. Right-footed, 4-star moves, and 4-star weak foot. Now, what's interesting about that, guys, is you could play him at the left back slot, and he could probably do a pretty decent job there. The reason that's important is because, of course, you do have that left mid headliners, Toko, Ekambi. You could, of course, link this card in a number of ways to a Lyon side. You've, of course, got that Bruno Guimaraes, who you could fit in, Memphis Depay, Houssem Aouar as well. Of course, all of these are players that you can link him into a team somehow with. However, guys, getting into some of the key stats for me, the big ones here: 87 aggression, 88 stand tackle, 88 slide tackle, 90 acceleration, 93 swim speed, very quick, 90 short pass as well. This card is a very complete fullback, and for 88 rated fullback, in the Ligue 1 as well. I think that's really nice to have that. He will certainly be the best fullback for me in Ligue 1 that you can get in that position, and I absolutely love that as well. I do currently have James Tavernier, and I'm considering getting this because it does fit into a lot of different squad building options for me. I can then start to squeeze him into squads and put other defenders in as well without having to spend too much to go out and buy better defenders. Next one, guys, he's got the early crosser and the speed dribbler trait, guys, so a nice crossing trait as well to have for a fullback. Speed dribbler, because I would be using him to get forward, that's important for me, but I can understand if you guys play with your fullbacks further back, but it's nice to have that to be able to maneuver out situations, especially with that reasonable agility and balance as well. For me, this is a very strong contender in terms of which card you should be taking. Finally, guys, getting into the Ryan Sessegnon card. Now, guys, he is 5'10", high medium, left-footed, 4-star moves and 4-star weak foot, so again, playing off the left. He's left-footed though, so this time he'll be coming around with the crossing angles, but can also cut in and finish chances. This is a nice card as well, guys. However, what I will say immediately against this card compared to Januzaj and compared to De Chilio is, although he has the agility and the balance on them, he's a very quick dribbler, especially with acceleration and sprint speed as well. He does lack in the shooting department. You'd have to get this card close before you can finish with him consistently. If you start to shoot from outside the box, I think you'll really struggle. His passing's decent, his crossing's decent. But for me, guys, I need my wingers to be able to do more than just finish from outside of the box, inside the box. Again, crossing is also part of that, but I think his short pass, long pass is okay. He does need more in terms of shooting capability for me to be one of the cards I would consider picking out of these three. So for me, guys, the recommended one out of these three is either De Chilio or Januzaj. I would say that my personal pick will be De Chilio. However, if you guys chose Adnan Januzaj, I would not think that's a bad choice at all. I think he's a very capable winger as well, and that's definitely a choice that could be argued for or against in fairness of De Chilio or Januzaj. So there's my recommendations for those storyline players. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this video. If you guys did enjoy this, then please do let me know in the comments down below. We can make this a regular series where I can go through SBCs, review their value with you, and tell you whether I would do them or whether I am doing them or not, as well as rewards and other stuff that you can get. Please do let me know, guys, if you do want me to go through that. I will 100% do this. I enjoy doing this kind of stuff as well. And until next time, and until I hear more from you guys down below in those comments, I will see you all in a bit.